Earl Doobie, the White Bowser, known to many of you out there as this Caucasian Koopa creep you see on screen right now. If you don't know the story about this guy, well, ladies and gentlemen, this series that myself and brother Kiwi here are going to start is going to give you a good summary of the person that Earl is and all of his best and worst moments. Now, here's the thing. If you want to know a real quick, full, comprehensive story on this guy, I'm just going to jump the gun and say you got to go check out Kiwi's White Bowser story. If you want everything summed up in like 1 hour, that's what you got. But if you want something summed up over hours and hours of us looking at the dumbest shit that Earl Doobie has done, well, ladies and gentlemen, you found the right place.
I feel like it's the perfect time to do this too, right? Like it's a whole year, another year under our belt as content creators, and some different perspectives, you know? At least I think, yeah, we both have some different perspectives on this stuff now. It's interesting.
Absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head. It's been 1 year. 1 year ago today, everyone was finding out all the fucked up shit that White Bowser had done. People had just started looking into him. It was right after he had told the army veteran to go commit seppuku. There was so much going on with Earl. And little did we know that over the course of this year, things would only get worse and worse as time went on.
And even after Bowser left the internet, after everything was supposedly all said and done, like, it still continued. It was just this mountain of shit that just kind of, like, cascaded slowly. It seems to be at an end now, but...
Yeah, even still today, it's like Bowser has at this point left the internet, so he claims. But what he still will do is send people emails where he'll just bitch and moan about whatever comes to his mind that day. We even saw one a few weeks back where he had said that me and Kiwi are still gonna be like, we're still gonna be arrested, and YouTube's gonna file like search warrants on us for what he doesn't say. But if Bowser's saying it, you better believe it, ladies and gentlemen, because if there's a face that doesn't lie, it's the one you see on screen right now.
Yeah, I mean, this man is totally not a notorious liar who we have basically contradicting himself at every turn. That's something that I feel like we can really appreciate now, Smokey, is all the contradictions that he has.
Absolutely. And it's so funny going back and thinking how, like, we had him on the show and we would have him there and we'd simply sit there, berate him, and let him dig himself into a deeper and deeper hole, which he'd always do because he was incapable of not just incriminating himself. Remember, he would sit there and he would just say all this messed up shit that he thought was going to clear his name, kind of like the video we're about to watch today. But it did not end up working out in his favor. No way, no how.
No, you're completely right. Everything he said was in an attempt to exonerate himself, and it just made things so much worse. It's like he didn't understand the regular social norms of like what you're not supposed to do. Everything that he was talking about was completely normal to him. It was terrifying, from the Discord server where he was showing that stuff to minors, to the movie theater Power Rangers incident, which I'm sure we'll get into all of it in this series.
Well, and we'll get into that right now, because this video you're about to see on screen, ladies and gentlemen, this is Bowser's apology to the internet. He even starts this by his classic quote. You wanna start the video to show the people, Kiwi, how Bowser starts this video? It's an all-time Bowserism.
Bless me, O internet, for I have sinned.
Bless him, O internet. He has sinned, Kiwi. Oh my God. You walk into confession, you ask God to forgive you for all the things you've done, and this smug motherfucker puts on his best church garb, comes into his basement. He doesn't even bother cleaning up either. Like, you know, this is supposed to be a real serious thing. You can still see his Koopa shell and all in the background. He's doing this. He is doing this video in order to apologize to the internet, to make a confession about the terrible things he's done, and all the while in this video, he manages to insult the girl he groped, the underage girl he groped. And that's a big problem in all of this, because for the longest time, White Bowser had screamed to the rooftops that this girl was 18. He swore it. And then when it was found out that she was actually 17, it was like, oh, my bad. Didn't know that. But he knew it the entire time.
Her sister, Smokey. Her sister. You know, the one with the genetics.
He's going to talk about that later in this video. He has the gall. He has the nerve to claim that the sister of the girl he groped was actually the one who got the better genes. His words, not mine.
I can't believe he sits here for 53 minutes smugly. I don't know how this could ever be a confession. The smug levels are off the charts.
They are. He's reaching Blade levels in this video, and it's gonna be a wild ride, Kiwi. So I think there's nothing better to do now than to sit here, let Earl dig himself a deeper hole, but to hear the words of a man just trying to confess all his wrongdoings to the internet. And at the end of this, ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to let us know in the comments: do you forgive the TheWhiteBowser?
I've dressed up in full church garb, and we're gonna get straight into it now. What I'm going to discuss in this video will be full transparency about what I did wrong at Imagine Macomb, and I'll do a part 2 to this video where I describe what I did wrong on the anime Discord server.
He never did a part 2 to this video.
I wonder why, Smokey. Could it have been due to a certain John Cena related incident?
It could, but I think that he's just stunned because he thought this video was going to go over so well. He was going to be the first YouTube predator to release an apology statement that people were going to go, wow, he's completely innocent. And guess what, Kiwi? That is exactly the opposite of what happened.
He proclaimed himself to be the lolcow to end all of lolcowdom.
He did.
Made so many threats, and absolutely none of them came true.
And that's facts.
That's facts. Before we even get started with any of this, I want to preface this with the simple excerpt. I did not mean for any of this to happen.
Lies.
I did not prey on anyone intentionally.
Lies.
And nothing was done that I wanted to happen.
That is just biggest lie.
Did I make mistakes? Yes, of course I made mistakes. Will I man up for them and confess to you what my mistakes were? Yes, right now I will confess to you what my mistakes were. I dress up in confession uniform because I am doing a YouTuber apology, I guess you could say. But what I've realized is that this apology video won't matter. There's still gonna be assholes online who don't care about the apology. There's gonna be I've said this time and time again, how I've received forgiveness for my actions, but still doesn't matter to assholes on the internet. They don't care.
You know why they don't care, Kiwi?
You don't care that I was...
He's about to say it right there. We don't care that he's received forgiveness from the girl he groped. TheWhiteBowser, I feel like I should have summed this up better in the beginning, but this confession video here is for him to apologize and acknowledge what he did to the 17-year-old girl. He had groped her at the movie theater, and Bowser tries to play it off like it was a really innocent thing that he didn't mean to happen, when everyone knows that he had a lot of sinister intentions behind it. You wouldn't bring up the girl having bad genes and her sister having better ones if you weren't thinking about them in that way. Bowser even says at one point that he believes the twin sister had a crush on him. Bowser is a 30-year-old man at this movie theater talking about these two high school girls. Real creepy shit. But the point is this: he sat there and said that he's received forgiveness from this girl, and later on after this video we found out that she actually never forgave him. She doesn't want any part of him, and Bowser had claimed to write a letter to her like claiming apology, and that she responded and told him that she accepted it. We then found out that the letter was never even delivered to her, to which Bowser then blamed the manager of the movie theater for not delivering it to her. So then we found out again that, of course, because it wasn't delivered, she never apologized. So all of these things Bowser's saying smugly in this video, you can pass off as lies, because that's what they ended up being in the end.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's just a master of lies. He blames it on everybody else, too. Like you said, he blamed it on his buddy from the movie theater. You really can't trust it. The only thing that you can trust is when he says something like absolutely depraved, Like
Yes.
that's the only time that I truly, because he wouldn't have like a reason to say that when he's defending himself. That's when I don't believe him at all. And 95% of the time he's defending himself.
And that could sound like an unfair statement, but when you see what this guy has said, and when we have had him here on our show before, just lying to everyone's face, you can hear it in his voice. He starts to stutter more. He starts to get more nervous, and he'll just start divulging all this unnecessary information. When he's sitting here with a smile on his face, speaking about things that we later find out are lies, you can tell when he's lying and when he's not. And I assume in this video, it's only going to take you about 5-10 minutes to start really grasping that yourself.
See forgiveness for what I did. You don't. So, don't know really why I'm doing this video, but still gotta fess up for what I did. Still gotta confess my sins. So, I will now confess my sins. I started working at Imagine Macomb Theaters around January of 2019. And I worked there for almost 3 years, up until June of 2021.
The popcorn machine.
Now, one thing you really have to understand is I enjoyed every single moment of working at Imagine Macomb. I had plenty of friends working at Imagine Macomb. Plenty.
I mean, it's just very weird because, like, wasn't 95% of that staff, like, just high school kids?
That's one thing. That's for one thing. Another time Bowser admitted something is in his Reddit post he made about this incident, because that's another thing, if people aren't aware, Kiwi, that he made a Reddit post called "The Day My Life Turned into an Anime," describing this day that he groped the minor. And in that post, a lot of people seem to gloss over this because it's easily forgotten. But Bowser brings up that the manager talked to the other women who worked at the movie theater. Every single one of them, his words, not mine, every single one was creeped out by Bowser. That's what he said.
Wow, so he was really just like going around being creepy to everyone, and that's his idea of paradise.
Yeah.
Wow. And I bet that there are so many other stories just lost to the sands of time of Bowser being like, whoopsie, I twipped. You know, something like that. I bet this has happened like very often, not just like verbal creepiness from Bowser, but also other physical interactions. I would not be surprised. He was there for 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years, bro. Imagine that. In 3 years, you have every single female you work with saying that you're a creep. He was probably just like eyeing them up and stuff as they walked by. And we know what he's done here. So it's like you just said, we don't have any evidence of him doing anything else, so we're not going to accuse him of doing anything else. But the fact that he threw that into his own post saying that every woman at his workplace had been previously creeped out by him, it does raise some questions.
Absolutely.
I was known as the popcorn machine because I would serve popcorn to tons of customers super, super fast. I would
so proud of himself.
There was never a dull moment working at Imagine Macomb. I enjoyed all my coworkers. I enjoyed their company. I enjoyed the friends I made. And I really was the spirit of the workplace. I feel I was the spirit of the workplace because...
Yeah, he had to reiterate that, because nobody ever called him the spirit of the workplace. He just really thought, hey, I'm going to show up there, I'm going to put a smile on my face, I'm going to act like a complete creep, and I'm going to be the one to set the standard for these people. That's at least what I get when he says that.
I just can't believe the ego that's out of control here when he's really like terrorizing the workplace. Like they're probably looking for any reason to get rid of him. And he considers himself like a cool guy who's got lots of friends, and he serves tons of popcorn. Like his perception of reality there was so far from the truth.
Well, he imagines Kiwi because Bowser has a very warped perception on reality, and I think what he thought was every day he got out of his car, he was like fucking John Travolta, walking in there with the disco music playing, like people are just like, "Oh shit, it's Earl!" Like, no way.
Are we talking past John Travolta?
Yeah,
not
we're talking 1970s. Right? Yeah,
okay,
yeah, no, not modern
Battlefield
John
Earth.
Dressed
John
up as
Travolta.
Dressed up as Santa Claus for the Christmas commercials, John Travolta. But I mean, technically, that would apply too because he's recreating that scene. But the thing is, this Bowser would walk up in there thinking he was the fucking man, thinking he was like an inspiration for these people. All the while, he's creeping them all out, and then this happens: the groping. Like, if I don't know, man, I don't know. Like I'm kind of just like beating the dead horse here by saying it again, but it's so true that he can't gauge what people are actually feeling around him. Like he doesn't understand that he's being awkward or cringe, but that's the problem about Bowser because he does that shit like the groping and he still to this day acts like he did nothing wrong. So he never sees the error of his ways. He never even sees that he's doing anything wrong at all. And it's a question where it's like, what do you do in that situation? And I'm not a health professional or a law expert, so I don't know.
Yeah. Neither of us are priests either. We'll have to ask Bowser for spiritual guidance on this matter.
I enjoyed every second of that job. There was a time working at McComb where I was offered a supervisory position just before.
I don't believe that.
Just before this accident happened, I was offered a supervisory position.
Definitely not true, but I bet you they are fucking counting their lucky stars they didn't give him that promotion.
Human resources manager. My friend Nick. My friend Nick and I, even when he was a lead at McComb, he was such a good friend. And even he understood that what I did was an accident.
Is it just me, or does Nick sound so made up?
He does.
Like, just someone that never existed. He's like, yeah, me and my friend Nick. Nick was like, nah, dude, you're not guilty at all. Like, this sounds like a completely made-up person right now.
It absolutely is. And how many times has he made up stories about people forgiving him about this? He just talked about the girl he groped forgiving him, which we know didn't happen. At one point, Bowser even claims that the brother of the girl he groped just was like, hey, dude, water under the bridge, when he told her that. And it's like, no, that is bullshit. Which, again, Bowser later came out and claimed that he never actually apologized to the guy in person. Surprise, surprise. But this guy, Nick here, dude, you hit the nail on the head. He sounds like just a fabrication that Bowser made up to have another person on his side. Because I'll tell you this much, the way he talks about this Nick guy, he's like, my friend Nick at the movie theater, like he just sounds like so skeptical to even or so hesitant to put out the words. But when he talks about the other dude, Gio, my friend Gio at the movie theater, he told me that and you can tell it. I'm telling you, I know I'm not a psychology expert, all right, but it doesn't take much to tell when Bowser's lying and when he's not. I think anybody who just, if you listen to the guy long enough, will be able to tell.
I mean, Bowser's had a couple of friends named Nick or Nicholas, and they've just been bad apples. They're not good friends. I mean, they're good friends for Bowser, but just bad apples in general.
That's facts.
That it wasn't intentional. Even
Ricky's are a different story.
My best friend at McComb, Gio, who went on to become a supervisor in my stead after I quit at McComb. He said, Earl, what you did to their cartoons wouldn't even hold up.
No, wait. We can touch on that in a second. But what he's about to say here, what you did to their just cartoons wouldn't even hold up in court. That's what this person told him. First off, that's how you know it's a fabrication, Kiwi, because that's the shit he's been saying for the longest time. He looked it up. He looked up he probably looked up something about groping, and he was like, you know what? I'm gonna look it up in this specific instance that wasn't even the instance he did it in, and found out that it wouldn't hold up in court. And that's why he wants to try to tell people, hey, you're crazy for thinking this. But what you heard right there, it's just cartoons thing, that's blurring out the name of Bowser's actual victim. Because when Bowser put this video out publicly, he had no problem saying his victim's first, last name, where she worked, which was easy to find out considering it happened at the movie theater. But nonetheless, he doxed everyone he possibly could in this video. And there was no one more egregious than doxing the victim. But shout out to the guy who made this edit right here. He'll be linked in the description below for censoring out all the unnecessary doxing that Bowser did.
As I feel, and it's awful that I'm laughing so hard because right now he's like, it wouldn't even hold up in court. Like, it's a very disturbing moment, but that always gets me. That little,
it is. It's like, dude, he's literally admitting, yes, he did it, but like, no one cares. I'm not gonna get in trouble.
This is a very disturbing defense too that people have given before for him, where they're like, oh, that's illegal in that state. And I'm like, that don't make it right or like acceptable. There's just a disturbing age gap. Bowser's a 30-year-old man. There's obviously like a power indifference there. Bowser was even saying that he was up for a supervisor position. So there's like already a power dynamic there as well.
Wouldn't even hold up in court because it was
an accident, weird argument.
Because it was unintentional. And that was one thing that I really never understood. How can I be a sex offender if what I did was unintentional? If what I did truly was an accident?
You think he believes that?
It's like...
Yeah, he's convinced himself.
Doesn't mean I don't feel shame for it. I feel shame for what I did. A real sex offender would feel pleasure for what they did. I feel the exact
He's reading off a script.
Pleasure. I feel disgust for what I did.
Look at his eyes.
That's something. Oh my god, I never realized that before. Yeah, he has talking points. Wow.
Watch his eyes. He keeps darting back to the computer as he's saying this. This isn't from the heart. He's like, I feel shame. No, you don't. You just wrote it into the script that you do. You're dressed here like you're going to church in a sham confession. You don't feel 1 ounce of sympathy. You just want people off your back.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, man. If he felt any sort of shame, he wouldn't have made my life turned into an anime post.
Exactly. Because he wants to be the protagonist, Kiwi. He wants to be the one who ends up the hero at the end of this story, not understanding that the way this story should end is by you never trying to get in contact with that girl again and just like letting her try to get over the weird shit you did to her. She should never been put in that position anyway. The fact that you even did that, there is no redemption for you, at least in my mind.
I do. So, but let me get back into it. I had lots of great times working at Imagine Macomb. Lots of great friends. And truly, you guys, the internet, only really know the half of the story of what happened. But now that you know this intro of the friends I have at Imagine Macomb, Gio, Nick. Gio was the kind of person that told me that it wasn't your fault. It was an accident. Gio even told me that I should stop blaming myself for what happened. Gio and I, we both wish it never did happen.
You gotta know Gio just loves being dragged into this.
It soiled the entire relationship I had with everyone at Imagine Macomb. Because big brother, Matt, I had to fess up.
Another very interesting censor moment.
So it seems like the censor is only the victim's name, which is fair. That's fine. But this is where Bowser goes into the fact that he apologized to her brother, which again, he never did. And to anyone listening to this, I ask you, what do you think the brother of the girl who he groped would have said when Bowser walked up to him and asked forgiveness? The guy probably would have dropped him where he stood. But in Bowser's version of the story, the dude was completely understandable.
I remember approaching his big brother Matt and apologizing to him for what I did to her. That took balls. That took balls to walk up to big brother Matt and apologize to him for what I did to his little sister. Now, what I don't understand, I was 18 years old at the time this happened. She was 18 years old. And to anyone online who wants to say that I sexually assaulted a minor, you're wrong. And I know you're wrong.
We're right, Earl.
Because Tom's twin sister, her name she was 18 going on 19 years old when this happened. So to anyone online who wants to say I assaulted a 17-year-old, 16-year-old, 14-year-old, 8-year-old, you're telling lies. You're telling straight lies. You're only telling those lies to make you feel better about yourself.
Okay. We need to comment on this.
I don't feel good about.
Okay. So, like, first off, he says that people are telling these lies because they want to feel good about themselves. Bowser, nobody feels good talking about this situation at all. Like, in no aspect of it. The thing is, he sat here, Kiwi, and you just heard him. He was so adamant that all these people, they're lying. They're lying. He came on our very show. You remember, just sat there, and he said, well, I guess the girl really was 17. I found that out today. But that's her sister's fault for not telling me. It's always someone else's fault. Even when he sits here, acts as smug as he can, and acts like everyone else is the problem for lying on his name. When it turns out that he's the one lying, he still can't just own up to it. He has to find someone else to blame. Absolute scumbag move. And it's just like everything he says in this confession video and tries to act like he's being so honest, and the fact that people aren't listening to him is a travesty. It was very smart on all the people who decided not to listen to him, because he tries to be genuine. And if this is what he's trying to be like when he's genuine, this is how he tries to talk to people probably all the time in his real life. You can only imagine how many times he's lied about this to just random people he talks about in his everyday life. It's just a scary thing when he's so willing to be dishonest. And it's now that everything's come out that he was lying, still, like, he'll still preach this shit to the heavens that he's been telling the truth the whole time, when it's like every single thing categorically has come out to be untrue.
About what I did. Why should I feel good about what I did?
No, I think
I was 18 years old at the time, and even though what happened was a pure accident, that was unintentional, that I felt such disgust and shame for what I did. And that's one other thing I don't understand either. I know I was the perpetrator for my actions. I know fucking hell, was the victim. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't feel shame for what I did. Everyone should feel shame for what they... the common logical person would feel shame for what they did in this situation. Even if it was unintentional, even if it was an accident. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of what happened. On June 24th, 2021, Nick called everyone in the theater. He called everyone over in the theater to the corner of the theater to have a meeting. It was an obligatory meeting, which means you had to show up. I had to show up. I had to show up. Matt had to show up. Everyone had to show up to this meeting. Everyone did. You didn't have a choice whether or not to show up. You had to show up to the meeting. So that was like the first thing that set the stage. You know, everyone was obliged to show up to the meeting. The human resources manager, Nick, made you show up there. So everyone showed up to the meeting. This meeting was meant to close down the theater quickly, efficiently, and effectively. Nick was going to assign everyone their jobs and, get the job done fast so everyone could go home fast. Now, most of you know this part of the story, okay? one thing that was customary to do during the obligatory human resources meeting was everyone would put their hand in the middle and say, "Go imagine," right? Well,
Good.
didn't want to do that. Didn't want to do the Power Rangers-esque "Go imagine" bit. She didn't want to do it.
His victim didn't want to do that.
I wasn't thinking it.
I wonder why. Why wouldn't she want to do this? Maybe something similar had happened before. Maybe.
Oh God, dude! Like she probably didn't want to be close to him,
Mhm.
And that's what he even brings up, that she had to be put like right next to him. And dude, do you notice how he changes every little thing? Like every time he tells a story, I feel like every time he's told this, it changes. In the beginning, it was "Go movie theater," then now it's "Go imagine." It's always a new little thing they did, and that's why even this part of the story, I feel like he's lying about. Like, who knows? Who knows? Like I said, I wish we could know from somebody who was actually there that day, but I don't know. It'll probably be lost to time, like you said.
Yeah, we can only infer what happened, and honestly, I feel like Bowser kind of speaks a language of lies that you can translate eventually. If you've watched him for long enough, you can kind of pick out what's the truth based off of like the tidbits of actual factual information that we found on him.
Yes.
Everything is just coated in lies, and it's really at the seed of that lie where like he's defending himself. That's where the truth is.
At the time,
Yep.
I was.
No,
I
that's
was
confusing.
Foolish.
I'm a little high.
I was stupid. I was. And I have to learn to forgive myself for what I did, but let me just explain what I did. I walked this way. I swung my left arm over, grabbed her left shoulder. She turned around, way too fast for me to react. My hand slipped. It touched her chest. That's what you call, and much to my dismay, much to how I hate to admit it, I groped someone.
He looks very happy, though, much to my dismay, while he looks up with like a little smile on his face.
He
Looks
did
like
have a smile
Philip
on his
from-
face.
Looks like Philip from Soft White Underbelly right now. Not many are going to get that.
Do you know, like I said, that you just hit the nail on the head again, Kiwi. He's about to do it soon when he talks about how he's never touched a boob before. Like, for one, why even put your hand on the girl to begin with? If she doesn't want to do it, like, why are you the one to be like, hey, grab her, be like, get back here? Like, again, it just shows that he doesn't understand like what's socially acceptable and what's not.
I'm surprised he didn't come up here in a doctor's uniform and be like, but guys, I am a registered doctor.
He would probably try it. He would probably try it. You know he would.
He was medical.
Anything he could do to get out of this situation, Kiwi, you know he'd do, no matter how batshit insane it is. He started putting fucking signs out front of his house saying, "Go away, trolls," when trolls weren't even showing up to his house to begin with. Yeah, right there. Look at that. Let me read this. This house has been targeted by cyberbullies and internet criminals. Please leave me alone. I have a disabled mother to take care of. I'm leaving the internet, Earl Doobie. The only thing true he said there was that he was leaving the internet. The thing is, Bowser, for the longest time after this and everything, has blamed people like myself and Kiwi for sending these like hordes of trolls to his home to mess with him. And as far as I'm concerned, nobody has actually ever went to his house to troll him other than someone sending him a birthday clown at one point. You know, if people had gone to Bowser's house to mess with him, you know they would have put out videos and stuff trying to gloat about it. And we've been saying since day one, stay as far away from this guy as you can. Never touch the poo. Never try to interact with Bowser because he'll make an ass out of himself on his own. But he wants to try to use whatever he can as an excuse, even when things aren't actually happening.
That's exactly true. That's all you're doing is giving him ammunition to make himself look somewhat better with that type of behavior.
I groped a woman, and that is my own sin that I have to bear, that I had to ask
great
for
timing.
forgiveness for.
Yeah.
Now, bear in mind, I was really quite in shock when the whole thing went down. I had never touched a boob before. I was just sort of frozen in place. Now, I only,
A 30-year-old
quote
man.
unquote, groped her for 5 seconds, max. Doesn't matter. I still did something wrong. I still have to fess up for what I did. My first mistake really was when I grabbed her shoulder. I shouldn't have done that.
Well, he knows that.
I recall when I was...
That's what they call in the old TheWhiteBowser community the setup. You grab the shoulder. That's the setup.
Talking with the general manager of the theater, John, at the time, he said to me in a sort of fatherly-esque way, "You're not getting punished for your first mistake. Wasn't when she turned around and you touched her chest. Your first mistake was when you grabbed her shoulder." And he's right. He's right.
I hate to keep pausing it.
No, you're good.
Just imagine for a second how this all went down according to him. So he put his hand on her shoulder after the Power Rangers thing is what he's claiming, and then she whipped around.
Yeah. I can run through this. So basically, they were about to do the Go movie theater. Everyone hands in on 3. And I guess she tried walking away before it happened. And Bowser, quick, turned around, grabbed her by the shoulder, but then he claimed that she was much too fast for him, and she turned around faster than he could move his hand away, and in doing that, his hand touched her chest for, as he said, 5 seconds. Now, we've done it before. I've said it plenty of times. 5 seconds is a really long time, and he's probably just giving an estimate that in his mind sounds like the shortest amount of time possible. That sounds like a kid making an excuse. All right, I'm just going to give you an example here, right? I'm just going to give you an example of what this sounds like. When I was a kid, I got banned on Club Penguin. Why, you may ask? Because I was typing some really messed up shit on Club Penguin. And so my mom walks by and she's like, "What the hell, you got banned?" And I told her, I'm like, "Mom, listen, I typed all that stuff out, but I wasn't actually going to send it. And then I dropped my drink and it hit the enter button." And she was like, "Shut the fuck up. Like, you're lying."
You're like the kid, "I got a virus, Mom."
Yes. But I had to be like 8. I was like 8 years old. And that's like something I'd say when I was a kid. That sounds like and that's exactly what Bowser's doing here. He's like, "Oh, I tried, but then she turned around so fast and I couldn't help myself." Like, he's a liar. He's a liar. I don't, like I said, you can only wonder what the hell happened there. Now you ask, so let's walk it back. What the hell happened in that office? The manager told him, "Your first mistake was not grabbing her chest. It was when you turned around to grab her shoulder." Like I said, again, they're probably a little more, like, they're probably, I wouldn't say lenient, but they're probably like more soft spoken to Earl because they know what they're dealing with. And that I don't know if that's what the guy actually told
I don't
him,
know if they know what they're dealing with.
You think so?
I don't know if they ever seen the rage of TheWhiteBowser, because he's just having such a good time creeping that he's probably in a general good mood.
They think they're dealing with like a slower guy,
That was my first mistake. That was something I never should have done. And I really wish it had never happened. Because I hurt someone after that.
The only true thing he's ever said.
The utmost shame and disgust after what happened had happened. My hand slipped and it touched her chest. That's all I can say. It truly was an anime-esque moment. Kind of fitting since I'm such an anime nerd, but I digress.
You just had to throw that in.
Days after that incident passed, I kind of went home after that, because my manager, who saw it happen, he dismissed me early. Didn't really tell me what I did. I hadn't even realized what I did. I had groped.
He's still reading the script, Kiwi.
And not even had any recollection nor memory of it happening because it happened so fast. Because I was in shock of touching a boob.
It's so weird. Why describe it like that?
The way when he giggles about the sexual assault that he committed, he's like,
yeah, it's like he's like, oh, I was in such like shock of touching a boob, and then you know what he proceeded, what he said before that, Kiwi. He said he doesn't even remember, which is something he's gonna say a lot in the future, and he said it to us before. He says that he doesn't even remember the situation because he was in such shock and horror about what he did. But he was also in shock because he had never touched a boob before. Which one is it? We know which one it is. It's the one he just mentioned there while giggling about it. And that's the scariest thing about all that, dude, is him wanting to like say, oh, I don't even remember what happened. I was just in shock. I blacked out and I just did it. So what's to say he's not going to black out and do some other like terrible stuff? I'm pretty sure that's the same excuse he gave to the cops when they showed up at the movie theater when Bowser had went with a bomb threat there. Because, I mean, just a few months before this video took place, if people don't know that story, Bowser had gotten like a YouTube comment just by someone telling him to stop going to that movie theater he used to work at. Well, Bowser interpreted that as a whole like type of bomb threat. Went there, the cops showed up, Bowser got put in a mental institution. Like this guy, and he always tries to say he just blacked out and forgot about it. So that's probably just his way of trying to get any blame off of him, saying, oh, I don't remember, so it wasn't technically me who did it. But really, if that's actually what's going on, it's a lot more scary than you think.
These anime influences are really heavier than we thought.
Yeah.
The threat is a great thing to bring up because this was the moment where he thought he was going to get his redemption arc in his anime.
Yes.
He thought he was going to run in there, be the big hero, save everybody, get the girl, vindicate his name, be on the news, prove all the trolls wrong. There were so many like hero things running through his mind. It wasn't a moment of I'm so afraid for all of them. It's let me get there so I can be the hero and clown these trolls.
And you know what, dude? While he was driving to that theater, I bet you that was the thought running in his mind. Mm-hmm. I know there's no threat, but if I can convince him that there is, they'll look at me as a hero and be like, thank you for saving us. And what's even creepier is...
The machine is back.
Yep. But what's even worse, Kiwi, is he didn't go there to save a bunch of people. It's clear that he went there for the girl. Because in the police report, people filed a Freedom of Information Act on that particular incident. And in the police report, the cops writes that Bowser specifically mentioned that he came to the movie theater to save that girl. And the cop then asked him, well, how did you know they were talking about this specific movie theater? And how did you know that they were talking about this specific time, all this stuff? Oh, Bowser just didn't have any answers for those questions. So it was all about him. Even if this was a situation where people's lives were actually in danger, all he'd think about is a way that he could come out of it looking like the hero.
Absolutely. And I think a further episode of this on just the documents, the police documents, the Reddit posts, maybe some of the emails, that'd be all perfect together. Because Bowser in writing, it's similar, but it's a whole different beast. The threats are next level when it comes to his
way more unhinged in his writing. Mm-hmm. You are damn right with that.
Is that she was kind of a flat chest. She was no bigger than a B cup. It was actually her twin sister who got the good genes. But we're gonna stop talking like an asshole.
So why? Why talk like that in general? Why? How do you notice that? These are two minors. These are so... I'm at a loss for words.
It's her twin sister, Bowser, so do the math. She's the exact same age as her other sister. And this was the one that he was like, oh, well, she said that she was this old. So obviously the other one was too, but they were both not that old. And I doubt that she ever made any claim of her age to Bowser.
No.
It'd be very creepy.
So he said.
Mm-hmm. Bowser doesn't ask for your age unless it's on a Discord.
Yeah, and if you're at a certain age, he'll put those age rolls on you like he did in his weird Discord. Bowser had people labeled as 14, 16, very odd stuff. So then you see with the sister and all here, you remember what Bowser claimed as the proof that he had known their age? It was because one of them had been talking about going to prom. And I brought it up back in the day that when I went to high school, right, there were guys in my grade who would ask girls like a grade or two younger. There were girls in my grade who would ask guys a grade or two younger. That didn't necessarily mean they were 18 years old. And that was like concrete proof for Bowser. That was enough for him to go like, oh, that's she's good then. He even brought up the one time, Kiwi, that the sister had a crush on him. So like
I think she had a crush on me.
Yeah, and these are two like 17-year-old girls. And Bowser is sitting there like, oh man, like if she has a crush on me, like he was 28 at the time this happened. I again lost for words. What else do you say?
Just an adult, truly an adult, still living with their mom, working at Imagine. And you know what's crazy? Is that they want to say this or that about Bowser. Bowser is very capable when it comes to people who have like his disabilities. He's on like the more capable end. He could easily live, like Cobra lives by himself. Bowser could easily live by himself. He acts like he's there for his mom and shit. Bowser is just, he tries to live this very like, I don't know, it kind of sounds crazy, but sheltered. He tries to shelter himself as much as possible. And it just blows my mind that he would go out there and do these things. It truly tells you that he had to have thought in his mind that everything that he was doing was okay. Because Bowser's not the kind of person to put himself in like what he perceives as a risky situation. When he thinks it's all right, he'll...
he's not like a Daniel Larson or a Cyrax where he'll just want to show up and call people out. Like Bowser felt like every time he would show up on the show, Bowser felt like every time like a video like this that made him look so terrible, he thought this was a great idea. And like every time he would, I know what you're saying, right? I know what you're saying. It's like Bowser, I don't know where I'm going with this, to be honest. Like I'm losing my train of thought here because we've been smoking so much while doing this. But I think what I'm trying to say is this: that you're right with the comparison to Cobra. That like Bowser could live on his own and all that. Mm-hmm. Like he says that he's taking care of his disabled mother, and despite like he lies about everything. I'll tell you this much: he's probably a way better caretaker than Only Use Me Blade.
Yeah, I don't know how much caretaking he's doing for Marie.
Oh, not much, but he's still better than Blade.
True, because the caretaking with, could you imagine what those streams would have looked like? Yeah. Oh my God. He'd be like, Mama, go get me some McDonald's. Hey, yo.
But the other thing is too, we didn't mention it. Like he says his disabled mother, like his mom's like, she's like the poor woman, like she has something, but it's not like anything like
she's up and walking.
Yeah, like when you say disabled, like you make it sound like she's really going through some serious shit. And I always feel like that's such a selfish thing to say because there's a lot of people who are going through terrible shit right now. And to try to put your mother in front of you as a shield and say, look, it's like if you're going at me, you're going at this woman too. And he's tried to do that on numerous occasions as well. You remember that one time where he said him and his mother are both praying at me so that I like would get arrested or some shit. Like he uses his mother as a shield and he uses God as a weapon.
Exactly. And it's so crazy that like he uses his mother so much. He filed a privacy complaint under her name for my White Bowser story, so I had to go back in and edit like Ricky's face over his mom's or something.
Oh, we can talk about that.
Incident.
I got 3 privacy complaints too, but none of them were accepted by YouTube, and it was it was on 3 videos of mine. You want to know what those 3 videos were, Kiwi? Meet the Locals Part 1 and 2 of White Bowser and the People versus White Bowser.
Of course.
So it was all 3 White Bowser videos I've done on the same day that yours got struck. And then remember, he was like, oh, it was my mother who did it. It wasn't me. It's like, fuck off. He was looking, it's always using someone else as an excuse. When he found out the girl was 17, it was her sister's fault. When he filed all these privacy complaints on videos that were fair use, it was his mother's fault. You know, it's just, when the letter didn't get delivered, it was Gio's fault. Now that he's getting trolled relentlessly, now that he's getting trolled relentlessly for his shitty actions, it's our fault.
Mm-hmm. It's excuses and lies and fucking just horrible, shitty behavior, and that's Earl. That's Earl for you.
It is.
There were some funny moments peppered throughout this, but a lot of what Earl says is just purely infuriating. The smugness, the ego, the sheer just being okay. He doesn't feel any shame for what he's done.
None. None. He acts
he just
like it's
doesn't
all
like
a
being
joke.
called out on it. Yeah.
Exactly. He doesn't care that what he did was a bad thing. He just doesn't want to feel the wrath of people for calling him out on it. Damn right.
Exactly. Because think about it. I'm sorry to pause it, but think about it. The Discord server, he was fine with having that until people fucking caught on and they're like, hey, this is messed up. And then he's like, yeah, it is messed up, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, he tried to make it sound like, oh, it was so bad, and I tried to do everything I could to stop it while running a Discord server where a bunch of people were sending NSFW material. And like, I'm talking like real. We then later found out when Bowser's stuff got leaked how terrible this was. They were sending all this stuff to minors that Bowser knowingly had in there and tried to keep private from anyone knowing about it. And when everyone found out, he tried to act like he was just as disgusted as everyone else. This is a dangerous dude. He doesn't really seem like it, but he's really capable of doing some sick stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's really these kinds of people you got to look out for. People who can rationalize any action that they do, that it seems okay in their head. They're capable of anything.
Yeah.
Capable of anything. And that seems to be like a trend amongst most of these predators. It's like they never feel like they're wrong. They seem to have a lack of shame, a lack of empathy. It's crazy.
My apologies. I'm in confession here. I should be talking more maturely towards the audience. What I did was wrong.
Confession's not supposed to have an audience, dickhead.
I felt great shame for it. I felt such great shame for it that I quit my job at Imagine Macomb.
He didn't. He got fired.
Not fired.
He was.
You were fired. This is confirmed.
He was fired. Yes.
Yes.
Another thing that he screamed about, Kiwi, that I was not fired. I quit. He was fired. And it was later found out that he was. And he
wasn't it through the police report we found out?
Yes, it was.
I believe.
And that was something that it took him leaving the internet, this police report coming out. He still never admitted that. So Bowser, when and he inevitably will come back to the internet, watch him just try to claim that again, that he never got fired. He left, even though it's now been confirmed that he was fired. This is all like watching this back, Kiwi, after everything that's happened really is just grating, because it's like we can count now at least 5 or 6 things in this video that we've all found is untrue. And we're only 14 minutes in. We're definitely not going to get to the end of this, but this is already a pretty good indicator of what type of person Bowser is.
If you read my initial Reddit post that I made on r/confessions, which, by the way, I really appreciate how you trolls online had to dig through my Reddit history just to find r/confessions. Keep in mind, r/confessions is the kind of subreddit where you confess something you did wrong, where you go to receive forgiveness. That's the whole point of the subreddit. But nope. No. Not for SmokeyMcC internet trolls. Nope. Forgiveness does not exist. Confessions do not exist. The only thing that exists
don't you think it's hilarious how he's treating this random Reddit thing as confession? Like he's a Christian or Catholic, right? Like so when you go into confession, you do the oh bless me Father for I have sinned, yada yada yada, and so he's treating that like he's like, oh, confession's one thing, but Reddit confession, that's just as sacred. And you dirty trolls going in there and finding my confessions and using them against me. Shame on you. It's like, for one, Bowser, again, I just said it a couple minutes ago, it's not supposed to have an audience. It's supposed to be between you and God. That's the whole thing, right? And so Bowser puts his on display, and then when people find it, he's like, unbelievable. how could you do this to me? Like, that was between me and those people on that Reddit. And if you guys are wondering what he's talking about, it's that day my life turned into an anime Reddit post, the one where he tries to make himself the protagonist over the groping story. So again, it's just more pointing the finger. You know, it's not his fault for making that really fucked up post where he like kind of doxed the girl and brought up how every girl in the movie theater felt creeped out about him. It's not his fault that he posted that. It's those damn dirty SmokeyMcC internet trolls who dug it up. He's the worst.
Towards the conviction towards which I did, I've learned that forgiveness really doesn't come from the internet, does it?
No shit.
I could say this a million times. Say how I remember going back to the movie theater after I quit my job. And my supervisor said, Earl, everyone understands what happened was an accident.
And they all clapped.
It doesn't matter, though. You hurt Kayla. So from now on, every time you visit the movie theater, you can't stay here. You have to leave.
Huh, that's weird, Kiwi, right? Like Bowser simply quit because there was no bad blood, and they told him that they all understand. But you're also banned from the premises, so get the fuck out. Like, what? What?
Hey,
no, they don't ban you because it's an amicable thing. You're a liar.
Fastest hands in Imagine. Can't even keep them hands in frame. You telling me 5 seconds?
Wait a minute. That just put two and two together. He was too slow to react to Kayla, right? But he's the popcorn machine. He's got the fastest popcorn hands. So like, he was too slow to move. But when it comes to that popcorn, that salty goodness, all that popcorn, Bowser can move like a fucking cheetah. He is, oh my God, this guy's the worst. We'll never know what happened in that movie theater that day, but we do know this. A lot of people may be asking, well, if Bowser lies all the time, how do you even know that this is true? Because some asshole got in touch with the girl that he groped and he like questioned her on it. And the girl did say that it was all true and that she was 17. And this is what kind of made Bowser like really have to walk everything back because he realized that he had been called out. Again, though,
he tried to act like it was a surprise to him as well.
Yeah. He was like, wow, guy. Do you remember that? We had Bowser on our show, and Bowser sat there for about like a minute before we went live. Like, because he joined, it had to be like 6:29, and we go live at 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
Bowser's like, wow, I can't believe this, guys. And it was like,
it was so awkward.
What the fuck?
It was one of the most awkward experiences of my life, the pre-shows with Bowser, where he's just like, yeah. He's obviously disdained, but trying to get technical shit set up.
Me and Kiwi would be in those like the call for like 15 minutes before the show. We'd invite Bowser like a minute before because it would be like, all right, finally we gotta. Jesus, I did not want to fucking talk to this guy.
Yeah, it was the worst. He'd try to start, and I'd be like, we gotta say it for the show, Bowser.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we need to talk about payment.
Yeah, we need to talk about it. No, Bowser, wait, we gotta go live right now, though, dude.
We go live. Oh yeah, fastest hands in Imagine.
Hey man, we make sure the community hears all.
To stay and hang out, and that was a sad revelation for me because I was already disgusted with myself for what I did, but it hurt me a lot that I traumatized somebody. He's
reading off the script still.
And for the first time in my life, I really could not forgive myself for what I did. I
felt look at that, dude. I'm sorry, but listen to him. He's talking about how much self-hate, how he can't forgive himself. And he just glosses over and says, and I'm also sorry about how I traumatized someone. But it's really about the self-hate that I feel. And, I shouldn't blame myself for this. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I should be forgiven by the internet. And I know I did some bad stuff to that girl. But I should be forgiven for what I've done because I didn't mean to. It was an accident. And I'm sorry that I traumatized her. And she'll probably never, forget about this, terrible situation of what I did. But I'm the victim. Like he's so animated and driven to try to get himself to be convinced that he's innocent. But when he's actually forgiving about it, he's under his breath, oh, I'm sorry, didn't mean to do it. Like he's he's so full of shit. And I feel like, again, I know I'm beating that point home, but if you guys haven't gotten that from this already, it said we've only watched 17 minutes of this video. We've been talking for an hour and 5 minutes. And like I said, it's just because there's so much stuff to say about Earl. It really is.
There is a lot to say about Earl, and especially with this video, this was shocking, especially when it had released at the time. We were like, oh my God, he really did it. He did what he was said he was gonna do. It was crazy.
He had told everyone that he was going to confess to the internet, and like, what a confession it was. I mean, later on in this video, he talks about how, he may have said the girl he gropes in full name and everything, but that's not a dox, ladies and gentlemen. To Bowser, a dox is only when you say their name followed up by their address and phone number. So like, you have to be really fucking specific for it to be a dox for Bowser, He does so much stuff in this one, Kiwi. This is another like 40 minutes of him just going off the rails, saying the same things, running in circles about how he's sorry, but he should be forgiven. He needs to be given absolution for this. And he rarely, if ever, brings up the girl and how she feels. And I don't feel like we should subject people to more of this because it's the story of Bowser, and we have so many more things we need to look at with this guy. And I feel like this is going to be one hell of a series, taking a trip down memory lane and seeing what the hell happened with this guy from the beginning 1 year ago, where people were just stunned by what he was doing, to Bowser doing all these like confession videos on his own YouTube where he made himself look like an asshole, to when we had him on on our show, just having Cow Wrangler rip into him and Bowser freaking out, all the admissions he gave there of all the terrible things he did, even up to when people decided to start paying Bowser just to spite people like me and Kiwi. It was a weird roller coaster of the first half of 2023, and I feel like this whole series of videos is going to give people a whole new look into it, maybe some laughs, but mostly anger.
Exactly, Smokey, and I can't wait to go through all of it. It's going to be a blast. This was a great starting point, the confessions. Like you said, the second one never came, but in the end, we figured out what was happening there. Yeah, it was messed up.
Oh God, it was, man. That's going to be the running point with this, Kiwi, or that's going to be the thing. It's going to make people realize how messed up Bowser's whole story is. But until the next one, we hope you guys enjoyed watching this. And if you don't know Kiwi, I mean, come on, y'all know Kiwi. There's no way y'all know about one of our channels that I know about the other at this point. His channel will be linked down in the description below. Go show this man some love. Until the next one, y'all, I'm out of here. I will see y'all then. Stay safe.